tell a good story.
We are now in a small town just outside of the trouble and the troublesome road that we're in. I must say that the principal got stuck too.
You make mention of the W123, and this is a car that has been assembled in South Africa, and some of its parts are found manufactured in the country. What's so special about this particular car that you're entrusting these 12,000 kilometers of trudging throughout Africa in?
Hello, Mercedes-Benz. It's Cape to Cairo 24, Sisada. Well, we're inviting you to join us in the most iconic and legendary grand tours of all time, from Cape Town, South Africa, to the Arab Republic of Egypt in the pyramids of Giza, as we set sail for 12,000 kilometers, 8 countries, 28 days in a Mercedes-Benz W123, a car engineered like no other car on earth. So we're talking about culture, dance, music, art, taste, the cuisines, as we talk about the wonders of the African people, and most of all, engineering and science in our beautiful continent, as we tell a good tale. To do this, we've completed 3 tours, 3 trial runs totaling 16,000 kilometers ahead of the Grand Tour from Cape to Cairo. Our inaugural run was in the Kalahari Desert. The Hackskin Pan salt pans were renowned for testing ground speed records, where we met the Sand People, the founding fathers of the South. The second trial run was across the SADC countries of Eswatini, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and back to South Africa, called the Heritage Trial Run. And our most recent was the Angola 24, over 8,000 kilometers to Botswana, Namibia, and all the way to Luanda, Angola. Simply, it is the love for the continent. And we know now half the story has been told. There are so many gems of this continent yet to be shared with the world. At 6,600 kilometers, how the longest river in the world, the Nile River, supplies water from lush and abundance in the south to the land of scarcity in the north, dry in the Nubian deserts. The longest pipeline in the world that never runs dry, yet feeds along the way. It is the people of Angola who, through bitter past, continue to Ubuntu personified is written in every face. The route is iconic, it's legendary. From the days of Cecil John Rowe's dream of an African railway linking Cape Town all the way to Cairo, Egypt, the Trans-African Highway. It is a route of folklores. Think about Route 66, Trans-Siberian. It is in many ways a human story, and it is a tough route, yet most rewarding.
And this one?
We love the W123. In many ways, the W123 is an African story. Built between 1976 and 1985, this vehicle has been a hallmark of the brand's success with over 2.7 million units produced. What gives us goosebumps, however, is that when Mercedes-Benz set up a factory, a W123 factory outside of Sindelfingen in Germany, it was in East London in South Africa. South Africa produced about 90,000 units of these cars. Mercedes picked Africa to produce this vehicle. Now, for us, that's a big story. Not only did Mercedes-Benz have faith in the South Africans to produce the flagship E-Class, entrusting their brand to them, to their hands, to their skills, it was also in the material supply. The vehicle was not merely assembled in South Africa, but the engine was molded and casted in Atlantis, Cape Town. About 40% of the car, therefore, was produced from locally sourced materials. Mercedes-Benz has got a long history in Africa. It's got a long rally history in Africa. Above the London City race, the Acropolis race, the Argentina and New Zealand, it was here in Africa where the W123 won the East African Safari Rally back in 1979, the grueling rally of all time. And today there are many of the W123s in our continent. In Morocco, there are swarms of cabs. In South Sudan, there's even a street dubbed by the locals as Mercedes Street. As in the African baobab, the Mercedes-Benz W123 is in our family albums. From the days of black and white photos to color pictures and now to digital, the W123 is still there and always been there, just like the African baobab. As we've traversed through the continent in the last 3 trial runs, we've enjoyed good media coverage both from print, media, social radio, and even making the 7 o'clock news in Zimbabwe. We plan to take the media partners that we have across the continent in this grand tour from Cape Town to Cairo, Egypt.
A group of South African motorists who were recently in the country for a trial run ahead of the Cape to Cairo race has been charmed by Destination Zimbabwe.
The United Nations World Tourism Organization has confirmed the positive turnaround in Zimbabwe's tourism sector, with the latest World Tourism Barometer revealing that the country is increasingly becoming the most sought-after tourist destination. This has also been confirmed by several high-profile figures, including sports personalities who have flocked to Zimbabwe in recent months, with the latest being the Cape to Cairo race team.
Absolutely amazing. And the falls are arguably the best falls in the world. So we're excited to be here. We've been talking about the falls for a long, long time. It's an iconic landmark, and it's part of our trip in 2024. And the people have been great. Sirens and hooters, and it's been a spectacle of a trip. Over the last 3 trial runs in preparation for Cape to Cairo 24, we've been able to refine the product, both from technical aspects of the W123 to the team dynamics and obviously the security and diplomacy across the countries in which we'll traverse. This time around, we're adding a flair to it. When we're traveling across these countries, we'll be going through with medical personnel, not only to serve interest for our team, but also to give the necessary medical services to the rural communities in which we'll traverse. We're telling a good tale, an African story, and what a way to do it in a Mercedes-Benz W123. In about 2 years' time, the Mercedes-Benz W123 will be celebrating 50 years since it left the assembly line. This is very big news. If you look around you, the W123 is alone in our highways and byways, with none of its contemporaries to show. And it's exciting for us that Africa is part of that 50-year celebration. It's Cape to Cairo 24. Society.
It's merci beaucoup.
Shukran jazilan.
Asante.
Obrigado. Engos.
Yalebuha.
But also again.
Siyabonga.